to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by. On the morning shift.
Anything
could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. Glad to be here with you. Thankful that you're here with us. We got another day, another show. We're live Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 8:30 in the morning on CKLU 96.7 FM, on the radio, streaming at cklu.ca, online. We're also found at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News live streaming. You won't be notified anymore, more than likely, from Facebook, but it is what it is. Algorithms change, and sometimes certain shows get less exposure than others just by a happenstance. It's not on purpose, believe me. So we just happen to be one of the ones that aren't, part of the algorithm that allows people that wants the show to notify them when it's on, but it just doesn't do it. It's part of that algorithm. Not sure who set that up, but anyways, yeah, make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow Facebook and YouTube and X and Instagram. Check us out on Sudbury.news, which is our news aggregator, which is a service to the community, the news outlets here, so that that way they can have their news promoted all in one location. Sudbury.com, CBC Sudbury, CTV Northern Ontario, Sudbury Star, all aggregated into one website. Can you imagine that? And it's done for free for them. That way they can get more views on their news, which increases their revenues. And that's just the way it's done. Glad to be here with you, a volunteer host on a volunteer-run station. It's Pledge Week, CKLU. Make sure to head over to cklu.ca if you're able to, and if you feel this is an important contribution to the media landscape in our community, a community radio station where anybody, including yourself, could come on, have a show, share your things that you're passionate about, share your experiences, and if you feel that that's important. It's the only community radio station in northeastern Ontario at the moment. It's been around since 1984. We're broadcasting from the MacEwan School of Architecture. Used to be up on the hill of Laurentian University's main campus in a little trailer. Humble beginnings, and still humble presence as well. Humble present as we are, still volunteer run. We rely on contributions from people like yourself to stay on the air and keep the lights on, so to speak, and to run it, to host shows, to keep computers from, shutting down and getting viruses and all that stuff. So anyways, yeah. So make sure to like, share, subscribe, follow all of our social medias, to Sudbury News. And then also make sure to comment if you're watching on live stream, Facebook and YouTube. We'll do our best to get the comments read. If not, we'll get them up on the screen if, time allows to be read up on the screen. Nonetheless, we'll do our best to cover the news. There was a meeting yesterday, Tom Davies Square. We try to cover it, but Facebook doesn't play videos anymore. For me anyways, because, sharing videos is too good for, sharing information. So it just glitches out. So maybe we'll have a different thing from YouTube today, because we're still able to play YouTube videos. So I guess, we'll be talking about what's going on over our heads rather than what's going on the ground. It's just a matter of sharing news that most people won't hear on your mainstream news because they just don't talk about it. We don't know why. They won't answer us. We can't ask them because they don't take questions from us. But anyways, we don't know these things. We're trying to figure it out, make the sense of the world we're living in, and do our best with what we got. And that is Sudbury News Talk on CKLU and social media platforms. We'll be back with weather, sports, news headlines, your comments, much more. It's going to be a great show. It's the kickoff to spring, right? What could go wrong? Anyways, we'll be back with some weather right after this. Sudbury weather brought to you by sudburyweather.ca. Currently, it is minus 14. It feels like minus 22. Yes, that's cold. Today, a mix of sun and cloud. 30% chance of flurries early this morning. Really? All right. Clearing near noon. Wind will be 20 to 40 kilometers in the morning. High of minus 6. Wind chill will be minus 24 this morning. And minus 13 in the afternoon. Tonight, clear. The wind will be basically 20 kilometers per hour. Low of minus 16, wind chill minus 14 in the evening, and minus 20 overnight. So similar tomorrow night. Friday, mainly cloudy. 40% chance of flurries in the afternoon. Wind moderate. High, minus 3. Wind chill, minus 19 in the morning, minus 6 in the afternoon. A look at your long range forecast the next 6 days. Friday, as we said, 40% chance of flurries. High of minus 3. Saturday, cloudy. High of minus 3. Sunday, still forecast to be sunny. So we will see. Minus 4 is your high on Sunday. Mix of sun and cloud, minus 3 on Monday. 30% chance and 40% chance of rain or flurries on Tuesday and Wednesday. High of 2, high of 3 on those days. Yeah, so it's very cold now, but it's going to start getting milder as of tomorrow. I look at your satellite here. Lots of clouds where we are and a lot of clearing above us and to the west. Looking forward to that sun on Sunday. Get some good vitamin D. Get out there and get some sun because it's not a common thing these days to get sunny days, but politically we have sunny ways, so maybe that's a substitute. So we'll be back with Sudbury sports and a little bit of what the Wolves are up to tomorrow night. The Five are up to, over the weekend, basically, both teams. We'll be back with Sudbury sports right after this. And your Sudbury Sports brought to you by sudburysports.ca. It lands on our sudbury.news website. And the Sudbury Wolves will be in action this Friday, March the 22nd, for their last regular season game in town of the season. Game is set for 7:05. They'll be facing the Barrie Colts right here in town. Lots of milestones for the Sudbury Wolves, if you will, lately. Last week, Dalibor Dvorsky picked up 8 points. That's 2 goals and 6 assists in 3 games, including a 5-point performance in Saturday's game against the Colts. Quentin Musty had 8 points, an 8-point performance, including 3-point performances against the Colts and attack. And Landon McCallum picked up his 150th OHL career point in Friday's game. The Barrie Colts enter Friday's game 4th in the Central Division. They have clinched a playoff spot as well. And 8th in the Eastern Conference, the Colts are led by Bo Yelsma with 79 points and Riley Patterson with 60 points. Anyways, prior to Friday's puck drop, the Wolves will acknowledge overage players Landon McCallum, Andre Anania, Zach Giroux with a special pregame ceremony. So you want to be there for that. It also marks the final game that you can redeem vouchers for seasons tickets, vouchers for tickets this season. And make sure to get your playoff tickets. They're on sale now for games 1 and 2. They're available online and in person, visiting greatersudbury.ca/tickets or Sudbury Arena box office. And also, memberships for next season are already available. You can get them for $5.69 plus HST for the 24-25 season. Their press release says 24-23 season, but that wouldn't actually mathematically work. But it's 24-25 season. The $5.69 plus HST, the early bird deadline, is set for June 30th. Season membership seats will be held for renewal until this date. Interested in becoming a season member? Contact them by visiting the Sudbury Arena box office or calling 705-671-3000. Then following Friday's game, the Wolves hit the road for their final 2 games of the season. Niagara on Saturday, 7 p.m. The Generals on Sunday, 6:05 p.m. A rare kind of time slot for a Sunday game, but 6:05, and that'll be the last game of the season. We'll see where they end up in the standings. They could be first in their division, or they can be third, or in the conference they can be second, I think, or fifth, depending on who wins, who loses. It's such a tight race in the standings in the OHL these days. It's not the greatest year for the Sudbury Wolves to have one of the best teams they've ever had, meaning other teams are doing pretty much, on par. And it's a dogfight, basically. Okay, so here you go. The Sudbury Five are also in action this weekend, starting on Saturday. They're facing the Windsor Express. Sorry, no. They're back in action this weekend, welcoming the Kitchener-Waterloo Titans Saturday and the Windsor Express on Sunday. Saturday's game is set for 7, while Sunday's game is at 2 p.m. Make sure to get your tickets for those games. It's going to be a great time, as usual. And for a full list of the themes lined up for the 5 home games this season, you can visit the5.ca and check that out. Tickets are now on sale. Sudbury Arena box office, greatersudbury.ca/tickets. And remember, kids under 10 receive admission for $10. That's it. All season long. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, much more right after this. Stay tuned. Okay, and we are here. We're back, and you're here. We got a nice little bunch, I think, on. I haven't really called up our show yet on the monitor, but we'll see. I know Facebook, something going on there. Not sure what. I went yesterday, according to Brian Poulin's advice, and I looked at my notification settings, and everything was already set to the way it should be. So there's no reason in that way that I'm not getting any notifications for the pages I follow, which is I'm not getting any notifications for those. You're not getting notifications for this show. Why do they have notifications then? I'm just wondering, what's the purpose? Just get rid of them. Just say we don't have notifications anymore. Or just let us know if you're, one of the select few who get them or don't, if they categorize different people somehow, at least if they let you know, give you an email and say, we're already doing the social credit score here at Facebook and your score is very low. So you don't have privileges to have notifications for 30 days until you take down that post saying you like the way Donald Trump combed his hair last week. He's looking better than he used to. His hair looks actually maybe a little more normal than it's ever looked. But you can't say that thing on Facebook, so you don't have a high score anymore, so you can't get notifications. So I wish they would do things like that, like very transparent social medias. They're not. They have community policies and standards that no one even knows what they are. and you'll be in jail and you don't even realize that you are, things like that. It's interesting. They kind of run it like, their headquarters are in the United States, but they run it as if it's, in North Korea or something. But nobody knows that's the way it's run. Yeah, transparency is always the key. It's always the way to know whether something is legit or not. That's why I like the idea of a free market. Not crony capitalism. No, I'm not a fan of that. That's where capitalism has gone wrong. But the free market, in the sense that you set up rules for the game, they're transparent for everybody. They make sense for everyone. Everyone agrees on them. And then everyone's got to play by the rules. And no one, and I mean no one, is above the rules. And everybody's held accountable, not just some people. That's the world I envision. I'm not sure it's going to be here anytime soon, but I still have hope at some point that we'll have that. But in the meantime, you have the other ones who like pretty much are fans of the opposite of that, and they're the ones with the power. They're the ones with the influence, and they're the ones with the keys in their hand to the car, even though they're asking you to leave your keys in your mailbox for criminals. I'm sure they're not doing that. But anyways, we got a few people joining us this morning. So Judy, good morning. Thanks for being with us today. And Belinda, as our usual, very positive beginning to the day with a positive statement. Good morning. Time is like a river. Oh, that sounds... A song comes to mind when I hear that. Okay. You cannot touch the same water twice. The flow that has passed will never pass again. Be present and make it count. Well, thank you, Belinda, for that. And it's always a great start to the day and keeps us on keeps us setting the tone each and every day in a positive way. Denise, good morning and blessings from Espanola. Monique, good day, folks. A smiley emoji and a heart emoji. Much appreciated. Lots of positivity on the show from those that bring the positivity, which is you. Marianne, good morning. Everyone from Barrie, liked and shared as usual. Good morning. And morning, Vin. Squirrel Hunter, for sure. Yeah, I was hearing, I think we got, our friend is back in the wall of our studio. See, just to let everyone know, because I think when we had Billy on a couple of days ago, we talked about a cat and a mouse chase going on in the studio. I talked about a few days before that having a squirrel in the place where we're kind of in a rural setting. And it's like a giant cabin in the woods, if you will. And yeah, there's critters. We live amongst critters. We live in nature, and nature sometimes comes to pay us a close visit inside of our dwelling. And we appreciate that in some ways. We realize that we're not detached from nature. It's very present everywhere. Speaking of being present. But anyways, yeah, thanks, Vin. Good morning to you as well. And Linda, good morning to you all. And good morning to you as well. Denise, remember, sharing is caring. Yes, it is. Leandre, Justin Trudeau is like being tied to a chair and watching a toddler play with a loaded pistol. Wow. That's a visual, and I think it's how I feel a lot of times. So that's true. So Justin Trudeau is like being tied to a chair and watching a toddler play with a pistol. You can't really get away, right? Like, what he does affects you, and he's keeping, talking about, I think the Conservatives were going to be passing a non-confidence vote or whatever, and they know it's not going to go anywhere because you got the Uniparty, which I haven't been including the Bloc in. It's like the Liberal NDP party, but it's the Liberal NDP Bloc party, really, because they all vote together on things. And if the Bloc at least would say, you know what, enough of this, and have some integrity and rise up a bit, I think the people of Quebec would respect them a little bit more as well. But I think everyone has a little bit more power because the Bloc is a minority party. NDP, they're very minority. and all the other left-wing, bordering on communist or even very communist left-wing parties, they all just vote together. It's like one party. So we didn't vote for that, by the way. But Justin Trudeau is supposed to have a minority government, but it doesn't function like that. It functions like a majority government where all the parties are all together getting their ways. Hey, Justin, I'll vote for you on that if you ... for me. Right? That's the way politics works. Okay, Scott, good morning, Sudburyans. Are you aware that many workers of the Children's Aid Society of the districts of Sudbury and Manitoulin are not particularly thoughtful or concerned for the well-being of children? ? I was aware of that, yes. And I would think most other people would be. Having, somewhat in the peripheral been involved, whether it's been my job having to deal with the organization or different family members or whatever, or friends. So I just think it's like any other institution. It's an institution, and it's a big one. And when you deal with that, you have a lot of administrative people that don't really deal. They don't have their boots on the ground. They don't actually go into the homes. They don't actually see the things that are going on firsthand. They're there to administrate and make a good salary. And then you have those that are actually going in and doing the work. So that depends on the person. Always does. Sometimes you get good, sometimes you don't. And that's my take on that. All right, so Vin, the passion that used to exist in the healthcare system as a whole has dissipated. And again, institutions where you have overpaid administration and lots of them. And then you have the foot soldiers doing the work, overworked, by the way, and underpaid. It just doesn't make for a good model. It just doesn't. It's like what's going on in Newfoundland and in Quebec right now. The farmers in Quebec and the fishermen in Newfoundland pushing back, seeing that the federal government is going to be getting a $10,000 raise again, 5th time in 7 years or whatever. $10,000 a year raise. That's a lot when you're losing your livelihood, right? You losing your livelihood, and you look to those that you voted in to help you. You voted them in to help you, right? And they're doing good. They're doing great. And you're about to lose your livelihood. And they can't even acknowledge it. They can't even speak to you like a human being. It'll make you upset. You'll get a bit upset over that, right? So it's like anything. Government, education, healthcare, they're big. And, and oftentimes you'll feel people from that side pointing the finger at big corporations, like big oil companies and big this, that, and the other. Yeah. They're all big. They're all bloated. And when you got lots of money and you're making lots of money at the top, and it's not just corporations, all you hateful anti-capitalists out there, look into your own government and what they make. And look at people in not only elected officials, look at CRA and Service Canada and organizations like that. Look at the wages that the top people are making, and there's lots of them. They're all on the sunshine list. And, where's your anger towards that? So I know that it doesn't matter if you're in a corporation or a government organization. If you're looking to climb the ladder and get more money, it's what? Are you any different if you're making tons of money off the taxpayer's dime, or you're making tons of money off your customers? I actually like the idea of making tons of money off your customers a little more. At least you got to work for it. At least you're accountable. At least if you don't give good service, people will go somewhere else. But you can't do that with government. There's no accountability. Very little. We can see that with the ArriveCan app that's out there right now. No accountability. Zero. Oh, you know what their solution is going to be? Make another government department. Make another government department with a minister, a manager, assistant to the assistant to the assistant, and then one person doing all the work. Yeah, let's make another department like that to make sure an ArriveCan incident doesn't happen again, or an SNC Lavalin, or, government officials giving money, your money, to their friends for nothing, right? They're going to make another department. That's great. Bloat government even more and charge you even more to pay for someone who's doing what? We don't know. There's no accountability. Anyways, whatever. Denise says, I'm aware they tried trafficking me. Whoa. When I was a kid, children's aid is not what people think it is. Okay, that's a bombshell. That's a bombshell. Yeah, I wouldn't even have thought it was going that far, but I'm not going to discredit or question your personal life experience with that. I'm interested to know more, actually. Belinda, the people that showed up at Tom Davies Square yesterday were not allowed in the meeting. Why not? And were shut down. They cited that the room was too small to accommodate those people. I wonder if they were canceled for saying these people or those people. So is that the videos I'm seeing with just everybody standing outside that Facebook won't allow me to play? It just glitches. Facebook doesn't allow me to play videos anymore. Starting yesterday. I'm not sure. Maybe their algorithm. There's a glitch in their algorithm with certain Facebook accounts where it doesn't allow them to play videos. And I just somehow by accident got caught in that. Someone made a programming mistake with their programming the algorithm, and I can't play videos anymore. I had a video. Watch, I'll just try doing it right now. Just show you what happens. And I'll be happy if it plays and makes a liar out of me. But here's the video of people standing outside of the meeting, not being allowed in from Facebook, right? So this is how Facebook allows it to play.
We are in Sudbury. We are live at our city.
So people watching this,
We're looking at phase
people that are just checking out the show for the first time,
15-minute city.
they get frustrated because they're like, I can't watch this. It's just all glitchy, right? So, but that's not on purpose or anything. So these people outside of the meeting weren't allowed in. I don't understand why. Like they said, it's a public meeting. They didn't pick a room that's big enough.
And for anything to be official,
why not?
The city apparently needs to be in.
Why wouldn't they pick a room that's big enough for people to come when they said everyone was welcome to the meeting about the second phase of their compact city plan? They don't want to call it a 15-minute city because that's a conspiracy. But they changed the wording to compact city, right? So there's what it looks like in all its glitchiness. For those on the radio, you're not watching anyways. You heard the sound of people standing outside the meeting. But they weren't allowed in apparently because the room was too small. So what city officials organized this? Like who's the organizing person or people of that meeting, right? And good morning, Shirley. Welcome to the show. Maurice as well. Thank you very much for being on. Hope you're having a great morning. There's no notifications anymore for you, so you won't get any notifications. But we're talking about the this thing here. Should be showing it here anytime. The meeting they had yesterday, 1 to 3 it was, right? So here it is. It says, which is probably, it's I guess false advertising now that we look at it. The City of Greater Sudbury is undertaking public consultation on a draft official plan amendment related to Phase 2 of the Nodes and Corridors Strategy. The Nodes and Corridors Strategy. The proposed amendment includes changes that focus on high and medium density land uses such as multi-residential and mixed-use buildings to the city's main arterial roads, so the main arteries, and lower residential densities to nearby neighborhoods. It will ensure future investments complement transit and investments, meaning city's money. No one else is going to invest in anything anyways, because the government's the only thing that's going to invest in this new flying unicorn world that they envision, that everything is, cotton candy and flying unicorns. I don't know. But they're the only ones who are going to invest in it using your money, by the way, which you don't agree to. So it's an interesting model to use. It will ensure future investment from us, but not us, from them with our money, that complement transit and active transportation strategies to help achieve compact, complete communities. Okay. So to achieve compact, complete communities. So what does that sound like? Compact, complete communities. Compact. Okay, what does the word compact mean? Well, I think it means, sorry about that. I was getting a video ready here. I think it means, compact. What does compact mean to you? If you get a compact car, it means small, right? It means it's efficient on gas, all these things. So they say that the 15-minute city idea, even though it's being implemented, all around the world as a UN initiative or an NGO that works with the UN initiative, it's where people live in a compact city atmosphere where they can be within 15 minutes of everything they need. And, but that's a conspiracy theory. But George Carlin talking about, language. I think, what's his name shared this with me. Brian Poulin, not what's his name. Brian Poulin shared this with me before. Like, we just change the wording of things and think it makes something different. A compact city or a 15-minute city, they're the same thing. Right? So George Carlin here.
I don't like words that hide the truth. I don't like words that conceal reality. I don't like euphemisms or euphemistic language. And American English is loaded with euphemisms because Americans have a lot of trouble dealing with reality. Americans have trouble facing the truth. So they invent a kind of a soft language to protect themselves from it. And it gets worse with every generation. For some reason, it just keeps getting worse. I'll give you an example of that. There's a condition in combat. Most people know about it. It's when a fighting person's nervous system has been stressed to its absolute peak and maximum, can't take any more input. The nervous system has either snapped or is about to snap. In the First World War, that condition was called shell shock. Simple, honest, direct language. 2 syllables, shell shock. Almost sounds like the guns themselves. That was 70 years ago. Then a whole generation went by, and the Second World War came along, and the very same combat condition was called battle fatigue. 4 syllables now. Takes a little longer to say. Doesn't seem to hurt as much. Fatigue is a nicer word than shock. Shell shock. Battle fatigue. Then we had the war in Korea, 1950. Madison Avenue was riding high by that time, and the very same combat condition was called operational exhaustion. Hey, we're up to 8 syllables now. And the humanity has been squeezed completely out of the phrase. It's totally sterile now. Operational exhaustion. Sounds like something that might happen to your car. Then, of course, came the war in Vietnam, which has only been over for about 16 or 17 years. And thanks to the lies and deceit surrounding that war, I guess it's no surprise that the very same condition was called post-traumatic stress disorder. Still 8 syllables, but we've added a hyphen. And the pain is completely buried under jargon. Post-traumatic stress disorder. I'll bet you if we'd have still been calling it shell shock, some of those Vietnam veterans might have gotten the attention they needed at the time. I'll bet you that. I'll bet you that.
There, George Carlin. George Carlin, everyone. Nobody compares to him. He's just he's just in a category all himself. So, not sure why we call it compact city as opposed to a 15-minute city, but we just do compact complete communities. So CCC. Sudbury is going to have a CCC. Compact complete community. Even though when we talked with Mike Barron, he said, you can't do that in Sudbury. Come on, that's impossible. But we're already in phase 2 of this, so I don't know how that's so impossible to have a compact complete city. What's the goal? Like, what's the end game here? Now, I know you can go to our Facebook page, click on that story. They wouldn't allow you in the meeting yesterday for whatever reason. So someone organizes this. They said to get involved, you're invited. So they invited you to the meeting, right? To talk about this compact, complete city, not 15 minutes. Maybe it's 20 minutes. Maybe it's 10. Maybe that's why they can't say that. But it's a compact, complete community that we're planning to have. Did you know that? That Sudbury is planning to have a compact, complete community? Or is this new to you? We're in phase 2. You didn't hear about phase 1? Yeah, anyways. To get involved, residents, which is anyone listening to this, possibly in this community, or watching this in this community, right? You're a resident of Sudbury. You're invited. This was yesterday. To fill out a questionnaire and attend an open house. So we saw a video of people there attending the open house, right? They were there, but they weren't allowed in to the open house. They could stand outside. So it doesn't say here, you're invited to come stand outside the meeting. So that's false advertising right there, right? You're invited to the actual meeting. But I guess you weren't. In person from 1 to 3. Now they give the room number, room C13, right? So they must have more than one room in Tom Davies Square when they're planning. Like, how long did it take them to plan this? How much do they get paid, the people that plan this with your money, that invited you with your money to this meeting that you weren't allowed to come into the room to see? See how that is when you just look at it for what it actually is? Does that make any sense? No? So I guess you'll have to go virtually to the meeting tonight instead. And that'll be at 6 p.m. And the Zoom link, if it works, will be, you just click on the story that we shared from Sudbury on our Facebook page. It's got the link there. You click on it. Hopefully it works. And if you're en français, they also share that in both official languages, by the way, which they are also working on their new Francophone policy for the city of Sudbury. You may want to weigh in on that as well, just to see if they're, just to see if it's something you agree with or not. So getting involved in your community is the way to go. There's no other way. You got to get down there and at least see that they're not letting you in. So if you didn't go down there and you accuse them that they wouldn't let you in the meeting, they'd say, we would never do that. But then you do it and they do it. So at least you know for sure. And others people can see, why don't they have a meeting room that's big enough for the community when they come to the meeting? I don't understand. And good morning, Evelyn, by the way. I missed that morning shout out to you. We're trying to kind of catch up on everyone's comments here as we're going along. And also, what else are we going to be talking about today? That's pretty much the pressing story, is to find out what this is, first of all, this compact, complete community. They have all the documents on their page as well to check out. So you can look at all their plans, what they mean by this compact, complete community that's going to be Sudbury, and see if it's something that you envision as your Sudbury, because you do live here. You do have a say. They do take your money to do things with it, so you do get a say. Just just for that reason alone. And there's a lot of things going on in our city. Maggie Hope Braun, if you want to visit her page, I had a video lined up here with her, but it's glitchy again because Facebook isn't allowing the video to just be played. I don't know what's going on with that. I have no idea. I don't. Facebook doesn't talk to me. It doesn't answer questions if I ask them. I guess that's the new normal with powers that be, whether it's corporate, because Facebook is a corporation. They're not a government, but they don't seem to be accountable because they don't have competition. So when you have a free market, the idea is that there's going to be competition. So you actually have to, in order to satisfy the people, do the right thing, kind of thing, or people will go somewhere else. But if you're the only game in town, you don't have to, right? So that's not really an open, free market. They have a monopoly, right, of sorts. There's nothing else that's kind of out there that... There are other options, by the way. There are other options. I understand that, but it's just not to the same level at all. They do definitely have a monopoly. But Maggie is talking about her initiatives that she has something called Gather 2030, and she talks about this ICLEI, this UN, the UN, or there's NGOs that work with the UN that have ideas in mind for cities like ours to be compact, complete cities, communities, compact, complete communities. They call them 15-minute cities a lot, but we're calling it compact, complete cities here, complete communities. So she has a way that you can read about this on her website, and let's just see how glitchy it actually is.
And hopefully you can all
pretty glitchy if you ask me.
See that. Need to double check because
super glitch. Okay, Maggie,
I'm really, really bad sometimes at not.
There. You can actually see what it is. We'll just pause it on that then and big screen it. So she has so ICLEI is a acronym from the UN for their initiatives for municipalities, right? So she has an initiative that just puts a K in front of it. So it's the idea of kicking ICLEI, kick ICLEI out of municipalities. And there's a movement that's going on right now with many people doing deputations with municipalities to inform city councils of what they've signed on to, because a lot of the city councilors are new. Most of them are. Most of them, if not all of them, haven't been a part of those decisions back in the 90s or early 2000s when they signed on to this thing. And good morning, Liette. Thanks for being with us from Collingwood, which your town was one of the first in Canada, in Ontario anyways, to sign up for this. I was watching one of Maggie's other videos, and she had said that how early on Collingwood signed on for this. I have to assume the mayor is in charge. Well, the mayor is the face, and I don't think he's really doing what he would normally do. He's kind of taking his orders. I'd like to just ask him who he takes his orders from. Not sure, but he's not like one of these leaders that, come in and do their own thing. You can tell it's part of something like this. So the idea of kicking UN out of your local government. So this initiative addresses municipal councils' participation in UN directive programs by educating Canadians and councils on the disadvantages of these programs, the associated harms of their aims, and lack of scientific certainty within their rationale. It provides clear and reasonable recommendations to empower councils to rescind previous resolutions, Freudian slip there, and participate in these programs. So there you go. Maggie Hope Braun is her name. You can find her on Facebook. Also, if any of you are close to her, I've tried contacting her only once. So it's not like I've been, trying and she's not getting back to me. I sent her out a messenger message saying, hey, I'm doing this little thing, Sudbury News. It'd be great to kind of talk with you. But I'd love to have her on the show and just explain it from the horse's mouth, basically her experience getting all this up and going, right? But it is something that apparently we need to be looking into in our own community to see what levels of the UN initiatives or programs have been adopted by our city. It's a question whether or not you're a pro-UN person. I know many of them, many people who are like the UN, man. That's where it's at. Globalism all the way. That's where it's going. That's where we need to go. I understand that. If you're one of those people, all the love to you, brother, sister. It's good. I believe you have the right to feel that way, and that's great. But do you know to what extent their influence is in our own municipality, right? And do you know what those initiatives are? Like, do you know to what extent? Do you know the details of them? Do our own councilors know the details of all the UN initiatives that have been adopted over the years, usually in the name of climate change or anything with the word green in front of it, or sustainable, anything where you see sustainable, you can pretty much bet your bottom dollar it comes from the UN or an NGO that's associated with the UN, right? It's coming from unelected officials and groups that have ideas about how the world should be. And they know that communities and municipalities are the way to get these initiatives done, because that's where people live. People live in communities. And sure, you can make, general laws for countries or whatever, and you can have different things to influence trade agreements and whatever. But if you can get into local, governments and get them doing what you want, then, you can get your goals faster. And they do have goals. Agenda 2020, Agenda 2030. You can go to their website and read them. A lot of people that I've talked to that, I'm trying to educate about it in the little bit that I know. I just say, yeah, the UN's really involved in our city. And they go, no, I don't think so. And I was like, okay, well, go to their website, look up Agenda 2020, look up Agenda 2030, and just look at it for yourself. Like, they do have goals. The UN is a thing. It's a pretty powerful thing too. And they do have goals. And, just like any organization, if you have goals, then you have a plan to achieve those goals. And what is that plan, and who's involved in it, and how do they get to that? It's by involving local governments. And so they make local initiatives and programs that aren't always the most transparent. Like, they have these words with green and the climate and sustainability and equity and these words, right? And you think these words sound all warm and cuddly until you unwrap it a little bit and you see, what is it actually saying? And that's where we need to get to the point of, what is it actually saying? What does it mean for our community? And so that's where we're going to leave it today. I think maybe, Miles, if you're available tomorrow to hop on, we can have a great maybe week wrap up and talk about the photo cameras, the automatic cameras that are going to be issuing tickets at 6 areas in our city starting tomorrow. That'll be a good topic of discussion. What does it mean to us? Or what do we have to look forward to? Is it building community? Is it helping the community culture to be positive? What is its contribution to the city? Will we be safer as a result, is what we're told? Will there be data? These are the questions we ask ourselves, right? What data do we have so far showing that they're dangerous areas and they need to have these cameras in order to help us be safer? So that way, after when the cameras are done, we can say, oh, according to the statistics, look how safe we are now. And then will we know how much money is being made, from these things? All the transparency that we would ask as citizens from our community, I think instead of going compact, again, I have to get this phrasing down again, right? Compact, complete community. Why don't we have transparent community? Why don't we start with that? Why don't we start with an audit of where money's been going, and if there's been any kind of leaks with our money going places it shouldn't and stuff like that first. Let's see where we're at, and then go from there. Let's have a transparent city. Let's have every citizen know exactly where their money's going, know exactly what it's being used for, know exactly how much is being collected, knowing exactly who's spending it and on what. And let's do that instead of a compact, complete community that you didn't even get the idea for. I didn't get the idea for. Where did that idea come from? Why is it here? What does it want from us? Are the questions we're asking. That's the show. We'll be back, God willing, same time, same place tomorrow. Thanks, everyone, for joining. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. Have a great Thursday, everyone. See you on Friday. Ciao.
This is Sudbury News Talk on the